I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am the self. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am the self. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am the self. O Sri Ramana, bestow your grace upon me, so that I may, in experience, flawlessly attain the unequaled and unsurpassed essence of the practice of self-knowledge, the excellent path, who am I, which you have discovered to be the central and foremost among all the various paths. O Sri Ramana, the heart, who through your grace protects me at every moment by guiding me along the correct path. Rise from within and teach me the true import of your divine and unequal teachings, so that I may know them in their undefiled, pristine purity. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachalam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. The body, the mind, the world, Maya, is an illusion that appears to appear because we have swerved away from the truth. Because of our lack of self-knowledge, these things appear. Many things appear to appear. But when we investigate ourself, the I am, ourself, and discover what we truly are, then the illusion disappears. It never appeared, and we are just ourselves. The world, which means the body, the mind, and the world. The world is but a dream. It is not a reality. The world is not the self. The self is the self. The world, that is, the body, the mind, and the world. The world is not self. It is duality. It is bondage. It is a result of ignorance. Feel the sense of yourself. Feel the sense of I. Don't deny this sense of I. Cultivate this sense of I. You know intuitively you're not the world. In the same way, in truth, you know intuitively you are not the body, you are not the mind. Through ignorance, we have associated this I sense with the body and the mind, the body-mind. But through being still, we come to see, in quotes. It's not seeing with the eyes. It's not visual seeing. We come to see or know. Again, it's not knowledge in the mind. It's intuitive. It means it's knowledge not in the body-mind. It's seeing, but not with the body-mind. We come to see, we come to know, we come to realize that we are not the body, we're not the mind, and we're not the world, and nor are we in the world. You must know this sense of I. Cultivate this sense of I. Do not try and intellectualize it away. It is the clue that will take you home. Don't turn away from the clue. The false teachings, some of the false non-dual teachings, try and rationalize away the sense of self. They try and pretend there is no one here. They say no one is here already, but we have a sense of self. This is the self. This is our truth. Problem is, we think it's the body-mind, and we think what we are is the body-mind. We know we are. We know we exist. I know I am. Everyone has intuitive knowledge, non-verbal, non-conceptual, not thought-based, intuitive knowledge. That is not thought-based. I am. This is the portal. This is the doorway. This is the gate through which we can discover ourselves as God, as divine, as Brahman, as that. It's the only clue we have. Only clue we have. Nothing else we know for sure apart from this. I am, I exist. Intuitively, you know what you are. Self-knowledge, you do not need to strive or struggle for it. Have faith. You already know everything you need. Gravitate towards yourself. Gravitate towards yourself. Intuitively, it's like a magnetic pull. As we recognize ourselves and we gravitate towards ourselves, and we are ourselves. You might mix up your sense of self with the body, mind, with the body-mind sensations, body-mind sensation. This is ignorance. This is a mistake. This is a false mixing. There's a false mixture. We have to spiritually undergo a process of distillation where we separate out this mixture. separate out the pure from the impure from the pure. We've mixed these up like water and oil mixed together. We need to allow them to separate. You are not to, as a person, concentrate on the self. You are not to, as a person, as a body mind, meant to attend to something. You are not meant to, as a person, do anything. You are not a person. You are not a body mind. This is not action for the body mind. You are the self. This is your own intuitive knowledge. You exist. Allow the nature of yourself to emerge naturally, spontaneously, in its own way, in its own time. Allow your attention to come to yourself naturally, spontaneously, in its own way, in its own time, intuitively. The oil and the water will naturally separate in their own time. Just stick with this knowledge of yourself. You know what you are. Totally, completely, fully, always, intuitively. You are not the body. You are not the mind. When you look at the world, when you sense the world, intuitively, you know you are not that world. When you look at or sense the body, intuitively, you know you are not that. With the mind, it is more tricky. Maybe intuitively, you feel you're the mind. But this is ignorance. This is false knowledge. This is falsehood. Allow your intuitive knowledge to emerge in silent contemplation. Allow your intuitive knowledge that you are not the body, mind, or world to naturally emerge. The knowledge I am is always here, separate from all phenomena. It is not within, or the phenomenon is not outside the phenomenon. It just is. It's distinct. Maybe separate is the wrong word. Maybe it is wrong to say separate. It is distinct. Like water is distinct from oil. They may appear to be together for a time while the illusion persists. They are distinct. Allow your intuitive knowledge of yourself to rise. Self-attention is your nature. It's not something you have to do. It's not something you have to do. Self-attention is your nature. So as you effortlessly come back to yourself, that is self-attention. It's just being what you are, which is distinct from body, mind, world. It is not body, mind, world. It is the spirit that you are. It is the formless essence that cannot be understood, described, put into words. It is the I am. It is what the teachings are pointing towards. It's just yourself, your own essence, your own being. This is Bhagwan, beloved. This is Bhagwan. And this is Bhagwan Ramana, our Guru. This is what I am. What am I? I'm only that. What are you? You are only that. This is what you are. All else is illusion, falsehood, unreality, non-existent. False. Everything else is false. Do not embroil yourself with the world and with worldly things. Come back to yourself. Yourself is a different dimension to everything else. Everything else is unreal. Yourself is the reality. How to do this self-inquiry. How to know yourself. Remember, the true method of self-inquiry cannot be described properly in words. But we already know how to do it. Do not get tangled up in your mind. How do I do self-inquiry? How do I attend to myself? What is attending to the self? Who is doing self-inquiry? Trust. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in your own ability to know yourself. Have faith in yourself. You are the self already. You do not need to attain anything new. You just need to be what you are. These words are all pointers, they're all clues. They're not 100% literal. They're things to remind you of what you already know, of what you already know, of what you already are, to remind you to jog your memory, so to speak. It's not about memory, literally. To nudge you in the right direction, to give you a sense, to give you a flavor of what self-inquiry is. These are not literal instructions for the ego. Self-inquiry can only be discovered in silence, through connection to ourself. It is self-inquiry that is all important, to go towards the I that you know yourself to be. To go towards the source. To go towards yourself. The intellectuals, they emphasize the negation of the world. But this is not the way. Negation of the world is totally different to inquiry of the self. It's totally different. Negation of the world, letting go of body, mind, world. If that's all you do, that's a mental activity for the mind. But intuiting what you truly are and going towards that results in negation of the world, but is entirely different. It's exploring the I. It's going into the I am. Aham. Aham is Sanskrit for I or I am. Aham. This self is the all-important thing to explore, to probe into. To go into. That is the divine. The thoughts, all the thoughts are all about the ego. All the thoughts are all about the body-mind entity, directly or indirectly about the body-mind entity. But this body-mind identity is not real. It's a fiction. So all the thoughts are about a fiction, about a fictional entity. All thoughts are only about the ego. They only rise up after the ego has risen. The ego is the belief you're the body-mind, or the sense that you're the body-mind. But if all the thoughts you have are about the ego, which they are, directly or indirectly, and if the ego is an illusion, then all your thoughts are illusory. So discover the truth of what you are first, and save yourself all the trouble of all these thoughts. Suffering is only in these thoughts. Duality is only in these thoughts. So save yourself from all this suffering, all this duality, by questioning the root assumption that underlies all the thoughts, which is the I am the body-mind idea, the body-mind entity, the ego. Discover the truth, see the truth. If you haven't already, contemplate this teaching. It's a deep, deep teaching Bhagavan gives us. And that I have shared with you today, just now. It's a deep, deep teaching. Contemplate it. If you've forgotten it, get the recording, listen to what I just said. Contemplate it. Spend a day, spend 3 days, spend a week just contemplating this teaching that all your thoughts are based on the ego. The ego is the I am the body mind idea, or the notion of being a body mind entity. And this in itself is false. All the suffering, all the duality, all the problems are in this, stem from this ego, are in your thoughts. Everything I've just said, contemplate, is it true? What is Tom talking about? Is it true? Every point I've made, write it out as a bullet point on paper or in your mind. Is it true? Contemplate it. What is the logic? And then undercut it through self-inquiry. If all these thoughts and all these problems and all this duality is only due to ignorance, then inquiry into the self breaks that ignorance. Every statement I've said, question, contemplate, think about it until you understand. And then this will encourage you to do self-inquiry. This will strengthen your desire to do self-inquiry. It's like when a child truly understands the reason for something, they follow it. It's not just intellectual understanding. When they truly understand something, they get on with it and do it. In their hearts, they really understand, oh yes, now I understand why I have to do this. I'm going to do it. It's in my best interests. I don't just understand intellectually. I truly understand why it's my best interest to do it. So then I do it. If you do not truly understand what I've just said, then maybe you will not have the urgency or the deep interest to do self-inquiry. But if you do truly understand this teaching that Bhagavan gives us, there's a reason why he gives this teaching to us, why he gives us this logic in texts such as Who Am I? If you understand it, then this will encourage you to do self-inquiry. He has said this body, this mind, this world is like a dream, and we should treat it as such. What does this mean? What are the ramifications? Again, contemplate. Don't rush through these teachings. Contemplate them. They will help us in our self-inquiry. Shravana, manana. This is encouraging you to do manana on what you have heard. Manana is contemplating the teachings. Shravana is hearing the teachings. This leads naturally to nididhyasana, self-inquiry. It is the mind that asks, how do I do self-inquiry? But you are not the mind. It is the ego that asks, how do I discover the self? How do I break free? But you are not the ego. You are not the mind. You are not the body mind. You know what you are. Intuitively, you have your sense of I. But it is clouded. It is mixed with the I am the body idea. Allow these to separate. So the pure I is distilled. Just as the pure solvent is distilled from the mixture of the solvent and the solute. The pure essence is distilled from the impure mixture in the distillery. We are creating a spiritual distillery in which the essence of what we truly are is being distilled out of the illusion, out of the impurity. We are distilling and purifying and retrieving the nectar, the ether, spirit, disassociating it from matter, from the impurity, from Maya, and discovering ourselves as that. Self-inquiry, this as Bhagavan has taught it to us, precisely as he has taught it to us, just as he has taught it to us in the text, Who Am I? This, he shows us how to create and how to operate this distillery that purifies us, that takes us to what we are.